Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, if you want to get instantly up to speed on everything huge that went down at WWE Saturday Night's Main Event, you are definitely in the right place.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're jumping straight in because, wow, what an evening. Packed with, dramatic finishes, some really surprising returns, and moments that honestly felt career-altering.
Definitely. And our mission today, it's pretty simple, really. We're going to dig into the sources you sent over, pull out all those key insights, those surprising little facts.
Right.
Think of it as your shortcut to being totally in the loop on the big stuff happening in pro wrestling. You know, that mix of sheer athleticism, the stories they tell, and those twists you just don't see coming.
Totally keeps you hooked.
Yeah.
So let's kick things off with, what really felt like a major farewell, Goldberg. There was so much anticipation around this possibly being his retirement match. Now, his later matches, sometimes people said they were, a bit short, maybe lacked something. What made this one stand out, beyond just the drama, I mean?
Well, that's a good question. It wasn't about, some 30-minute technical classic, obviously. But what really worked, I think, was his chemistry with Gunther, the World Heavyweight Champion. Gunther's style, it's so deliberate, so credible, right? And that actually elevated Goldberg's big moves. The spear, the jackhammer, they felt earned, impactful.
Yeah, I see that.
It kind of showed how a veteran can still tell a really compelling story in the ring, even if maybe the peak athleticism isn't quite there anymore. They really used Gunther's strengths to make Goldberg look like a threat again. That's kind of the point in a match staged like this.
And it definitely had those big moments. I mean, Goldberg crashing into the ring barrier, that looked rough.
Oh, yeah.
Then recovering, trying for the spear, but oops, hitting the ref, Charles Robinson, instead.
The classic wrestling drama right there.
And then Gunther, maybe getting a bit too cocky, decides to go mouth off to Goldberg's son, Gage, at ringside.
Yeah, and that arrogance, as he got back in the ring, that did cost him right then, because Goldberg was ready.
He was. Capitalized immediately, hit the spear, then the jackhammer. Looked like it might be over.
But, and this is key, there was no ref readily available to make the count because Robinson was still down.
Right, that delay.
Exactly. That delay gave Gunther just enough time to recover and kick out before a proper pin could even start. That outside factor, the ref situation, definitely saved him there.
So the finish, Gunther, he just expertly slapped on that sleeper hold, transitioned into the body scissors. You could just see Goldberg fading.
Losing consciousness slowly.
And they called the match. Gunther retains the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, and that's, kind of a versatile conclusion, as one source put it, going out losing consciousness, not pinned. It protects the legend a bit, doesn't it?
It does. And the scene after, really emotional. Family, friends in the ring, Goldberg talking to the Atlanta fans. The ones who really helped make him famous.
But that's where it gets really interesting, like you hinted.
It really does. Because the broadcast ran out of time, we only saw the very start of his speech on TV. So what did people miss? What was in the full speech?
Well, what didn't get aired was Goldberg really speaking from the heart, advocating for respect among each other, regardless of nationality and skin color. Pretty powerful stuff.
Wow.
And then he made that declaration. There will never be anyone like him again, except his son Gage.
Passing the torch, maybe.
Maybe. But this whole ending the loss but still looking heroic, the powerful speech most people didn't hear, mentioning his son. It really shows that in wrestling, a legacy, it's not just about wins and losses, is it?
No, not at all.
It's about that connection, the message you leave behind, how you pass things on. Sometimes it goes way beyond what actually makes it to air. It really highlights how narrative can be just as important, maybe even more important, than just athletic dominance and cementing someone's place.
Yeah, it totally redefines winning in that world. Speaking of the costs, though, the physical costs. Unfortunately, the next story hits that pretty hard, a serious moment with Seth Rollins.
Yeah, this was tough to watch.
What exactly went down, and why is it extra worrying given his history?
So this happened during his match with LA Knight. He attempted a springboard senton and had, what the reports called an unfavorable landing. Just looked awkward and potentially painful.
Those springboard moves put so much stress on the knees, don't they?
They really do. And then almost right after, he went for another one, springboard moonsault. Landed on his feet, but immediately buckled and went down in the corner.
Oh, no.
And considering Rollins has had, 4 pretty serious knee and meniscus injuries since back in 2015, doing those kinds of high-impact moves back-to-back, That sequential strain, it seems like that's what did it.
And you saw the concern immediately. Referee Jessica Carr waving LA Knight back, Rollins talking to her, and Paul Heyman at ringside. Then the WWE doctor rushing out.
Yeah, never a good sign when the doc makes a quick appearance like that. The match did finish. Rollins kind of powered through just enough, it seemed, for LA Knight to hit the BFT for the win.
But that wasn't the end of it, was it?
No. What we didn't see on the broadcast, and what really tells you how serious it might be, is that Rollins apparently had to be accompanied out of the hall with supports by the WWE medical team.
Oof.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it? Rollins' history with knee problems, it just highlights the brutal physical toll this business takes. It's like a constant tightrope walk against injury.
One bad landing.
Exactly. One unfavorable landing can just throw everything off track. It shows how fragile even a top star's career can be. Every single high spot carries that risk, that potentially career-ending cost. We obviously hope it's not too severe this time.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed for him. Okay, let's shift gears now to something that feels like it jumped right off a celebrity gossip page and into the ring. Music, YouTube stars, wrestling, leading to a big SummerSlam match. This sounds wild.
It really is quite the saga. So it started on SmackDown. You had the YouTube guy, Logan Paul,
Right.
interrupting, basically ruining, a performance by country musician Jelly Roll. And Randy Orton, never wanted to miss a chance, immediately stepped in.
Yeah.
Didn't hold back either. Called Logan a whiny, privileged bitch.
Chuckles. Okay, classic Orton. That definitely pours gasoline on the fire.
You could say that. And then it escalated fast. Drew McIntyre jumps Orton, hits him with a Claymore kick. Logan Paul tries to get involved, pile on Orton.
But Jelly Roll stopped him, the musician.
Yep. Jelly Roll actually stepped in and shoved Logan away. So then, fast forward to Saturday night's main event. Randy Orton's facing Drew McIntyre.
And who does Orton bring with him?
Jelly Roll. And of course, McIntyre brings Logan Paul. So the tension was already sky high.
I bet. And during the match.
More chaos.
Yeah.
Jelly Roll and Logan Paul clashed again at ringside. Paul ends up getting shoved to the ground. This distracts McIntyre just enough.
RKO.
RKO out of nowhere. Randy gets the win.
But it didn't end there, did it?
Not even close. Post-match, Logan Paul attacks Orton. Jelly Roll comes in, basically beats Paul out of the ring. But then, as Jelly tries to help Orton up,
McIntyre's back.
McIntyre returns and lays out Jelly Roll with a Claymore kick. A musician.
Whoa! What was the reaction to that? Hitting a guest star like Jelly Roll?
Apparently, WWE officials were not happy. Reports say they were strongly criticizing Drew for the brutal attack. And Orton felt guilty, like he'd put Jelly in harm's way.
But Jelly Roll himself, he had a pretty strong response, right?
He did. Basically said, I am a grown man and I want to get both of them.
Love it. So this all leads to
a huge tag team match confirmed for SummerSlam. It's going to be RK Roll, that's Randy Orton and Jelly Roll.
RK Roll, okay.
Versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul.
Wow.
And what's really interesting here, I think, is how these crossovers, these real-world personalities and very personal feeling feuds just crank up the drama for big events like SummerSlam.
Yeah, it draws in different eyeballs.
Exactly. It blurs those lines between sports entertainment and, like, pop culture reality. It creates these storylines that feel really personal, really heated, and they can pull in audiences who maybe aren't even diehard wrestling fans week to week.
It's definitely a smart way to generate buzz. Okay, next up, we dive back into some intense family drama, legacy, betrayal, and a big comeback. The question is, can Jimmy Uso finally grab that singles gold, and how does the family factor in?
Right. The core of this seems to be Jimmy Uso's drive, you know. He wants that singles title. His brother, Jay, he's had the Intercontinental title, even the World Heavyweight Championship. Jimmy wants to match that, step out of the tag team shadow.
And this match against Solo Sikoa, the U.S. champion, was his big shot.
It was. And Jimmy, he looked great at the start. The reports say he got off to a really good start, came very close to winning multiple times, really showed he could hang as a singles guy.
There's always a but with this family, isn't there? Solo's crew got involved, the MFTs.
The Mind Freaks, yeah. Solo's new enforcers, they definitely played a role. Jimmy actually took them all out momentarily with a big corkscrew splash to the outside, but then Tala Tonga stopped him from getting back in the ring.
The interference. And the finish itself was pretty controversial.
Very. While Jimmy's on the ring apron, dealing with Tala, trying to get back in, Solo Sikoa just reaches through the ropes, grabs his own brother,
pulls him in,
pulls him into the ring, and pins him. Just like that. And Tala Tonga from the outside even reinforced the cover, basically held Jimmy down. Total screw job finish by his own family.
That's cold. And they didn't let up after the match either.
No, the MFTs kept attacking Jimmy.
Yeah.
Really wanted to make a statement, show their dominance under Solo.
But then, the big return.
The big return. Jacob Fatu. Remember, Solo's crew had supposedly brutally eliminated him just a week before on SmackDown.
So he's back for revenge.
Looks like it. He came out, immediately cleared the ring of Tonga Loa and JC Mateo. Then he went face-to-face with the big man, Tala Tonga.
How would that go?
Fatu actually managed to get Tala over the ropes, then hit him with a suicide dive. It was a huge statement. A clear message against the United States champion and his gang.
Wow. So what does this mean? Fatu back, Jimmy betrayed. What does this do to the power structure in that whole family faction? How does it change the U.S. title picture?
Well, Jacob Fatu returning just throws everything into chaos, doesn't it? It basically signals a civil war brewing within that family group, especially since they took him out just last week.
Right.
With Jimmy now seemingly on the outs, betrayed by Solo and the MFTs, Fatu coming back, it suggests he's not just here for payback. Maybe he's looking to take over, or at least redefine who's really in charge of this dynasty.
So Solo's leadership is being challenged from within.
Exactly. It throws a massive wrench into the whole U.S. championship scene. It implies major shifts in loyalty, big power plays coming up. This could dominate their stories for months.
It really feels like it's all about who truly controls the family now. Okay, finally, let's look ahead. A big upcoming event and a pretty surprising special guest announcement. What's next on the WWE calendar?
Next up, we've got a premium live event, WWE Evolution. And a key match already announced is Jade Cargill versus Naomi in a no-holds-barred match.
No holds barred, okay. Anything goes. But there's a twist, right? A special referee.
There is. Bianca Belair is going to be the special guest referee for that match.
Bianca Belair. How did that happen?
Well, it stemmed from Naomi attacking Jade Cargill pretty viciously. Jade was just being introduced, wasn't even competing, and it kicked off this huge brawl.
Right, I remember that chaos.
SmackDown GM Nick Aldis and his team eventually got things under control. And then Aldis dropped the bombshell, revealed his plan, Bianca Belair as the special ref for their match at Evolution.
Interesting move by Aldis. So for people wanting to watch Evolution...
It airs overnight, Sunday into Monday, July 13th, going into the 14th. Kicks off at 1:00 a.m. Eastern time, I believe, on the WWE network.
Yep.
And for our listeners in Germany and Austria, it'll also be free to air on ProSieben Mantakix and Join.
Good info. So putting Bianca Belair in the middle of Jade and Naomi, especially in a no-holds-barred match, what does that add?
Oh, it adds so much. First, it just raises the profile of the match instantly, having someone of Belair's stature involved.
True.
Second, it introduces that element of potential bias or maybe unexpected decisions. Will she call it down the middle? Does she have history with either woman?
Right. It creates doubt.
Exactly. And third, you've got a top competitor in a position of authority in a match where technically the rules are minimal anyway. It just ramps up the anticipation.
Sure.
Feels like truly anything could happen now.
Yeah, that's a recipe for drama. Okay, so that kind of wraps up our deep dive into Saturday night's main event. We've covered quite a bit. Goldberg's really unique farewell, the scary situation with Seth Rollins' injury.
The crazy crossovers setting up that big SummerSlam tag match.
And all the family drama with the Usos, Solo, and Jacob Fatu's return, shaking everything up. Plus, looking ahead to Evolution.
So when you think about all of it, you know, the personal stories, the physical risks these guys take, the strategic moves like alliances and special refs, what do you think is the most unpredictable element we talked about today? What feels like the biggest wild card right now?
That's a great question. Something for you to think about, too. What really stands out to you?